This conference will now be recorded.
So we'll open the Audit and Finance Committee meeting. June 8th, the first item on the agenda, Chairman's comments. I will skip and walk into the approval of the May 11th Audit and Finance Committee minutes. We did receive those via email. Any questions or comments? If not, I'd like a motion. Thank you, Dave. Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. In your package, you have, and also were provided the bills to be paid. I think they're fairly well clear cut. Does anybody have any questions with respect to those? No. If not, look for a motion. Carol, I hear a second.
Second.
Thank you, David. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Also, just on the sidebar, there's the deposits are there as well. Show three of our rental payments and our insurance with that paid payment. Oh, reimbursement for that paid payment. Okay.
Quick question. How many more months are they going to be in there?
I'm sorry. For trucking.
Lease. So how many more months for trucking will be paying rent?
For trucking, well, they'll be paying rent until April of next year. They've agreed that they are honoring their contract.
Unless the building is sold.
Unless the building is released by Apple Convert.
Yes. Okay, so something by April. Yes, hopefully.
Thank you.
So we also have the financials, the budget. I think just the budget. We don't have any other financial information, but Jody, anything you want to touch on within the budget for the month?
Well, I would turn to the very last page, and year to date, for the first time in our history, we have a net income of $331,000. So quite positive.
A lot of timing. Not a timing.
Give him his moment, Jeff. Give him his moment.
I did. Yeah, it's a great moment. You can memorialize that. But it's a nice place to be instead of looking back over red numbers.
Right, yes. And if we do sell the one building, that'll be another $725,000, and if we close with the hotel, that'll be another $200,000. So it's actually promising to be a good year.
Any other members have any questions?
That's what I'm thinking.
Just on a side note, the Google Policy Research Institute, this is the last one they're going to be here. They're going. He's had a change in his venue for the year, and he's going to be looking for his office space in the Cooperstown area. So he gave us notice last month that he was going to be out of the space here.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay. New and unfinished business?
For finance, I don't have it.
Nothing? Okay. A motion to adjourn?
Okay, we'll have a private committee. Let's see, it's got my comments. We have the approval of May 11 meetings. Minute meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Building project, how are we doing?
Well, I assume everybody's had a chance to look at them. Just met with Cheryl yesterday. I've got to make some corrections on some of the highlights on some of the documents that really they stand out correctly as opposed to standing out incorrectly. Only on a really hard, I'm waiting to get back the proposal from Hunt Engineers. I did have a discussion with DEC about the clearance of the site because we're going to be doing more than 2 acres of clearance. There will require a speedies permit. However, what they claim, what they agreed was that since it doesn't impact any of the wetland areas, it's within the 100 feet away from them, that we do not need to deal with seal. We can just get a general speedies permit from the Schenectady office. So that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
The Richfield Springs project, we did have the wetland delineation study done. I have a revision to that again today. Read that yet. It appears that the most likely thing that we're going to do is recommend not building right now on one lot. If we combine it, there's basically 4 lots that are developable. And for the new site plan, I'm only going to be showing 2 lots at the present time, but all of them stay away from the wetlands so that we don't have to deal with the Stanford office on that issue as well.
Or the Army Corps of Engineers.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're still waiting for the town to get back to us on, I did a indemnification agreement. We sent it to the town supervisor, Larry, and the town attorney. Haven't heard back from them yet on that.
And that's what they'll sign as co-applicant. So that was the requirement to have them sign as a co-applicant. They didn't feel comfortable doing that, so you've done that before with the city.
With the town of Oneida.
Yeah.
Small cities grants for both custom electronics. And their attorney agreed that the language was sufficient for them.
So they're a go at this point, or they're still talking?
I haven't heard back from them yet. They had agreed that if we gave them an indemnification agreement, that they would more than likely go ahead with the ownership issue.
What are we indemnifying?
Money?
So when they signed co-applicant, we were to kind of default on our requirements or obligations within that grant application. It would fall to them, and they don't feel like they would have the resources or energy to do that. So basic bottom line is like, we own the grant, we're going to execute on the grant. So that's what it's basically indemnifying. If we are unable to fulfill our obligations as an IDA with the grant, then that wouldn't fall to them in any way.
Right, and similar with the town of Oleana, they were concerned that they don't know the community development regulations, they don't know the procedures. And if we screw up, why should they have to pay that? So that's why they want an indemnification agreement as well, because technically on community development projects, the IDA is not the applicant, it's the town or the village or the city. So they have the responsibility of paying back the money if it's improperly handled.
Yep.
So in this particular case, with the EDA project, it's not that. It's more than likely if we screwed up, the EDA would pay for us because we're still administering the grant.
This is still a separate issue of ownership post construction.
Yeah, that's still out on the table. So when we met with Dan and Larry, we basically talked to them about come back to us with potentially a negotiated position on that. I think their biggest concern is that so within the bottom line is within the first year, you'll figure out if it was installed incorrectly, so to speak, but the problem is not going to be any tenants that's the way. So we just kind of, I said, I'm not sure the board will go for it, but, give us what your thinking is of the year after a tenant takes, or occupies the building, so that we can maybe have a talking point around that. But I think they were also going back, Larry had gotten kind of the advice that whether it's in 20 years or in 1 year, it's not really any different to take ownership of it. So I think they're going back to discuss that. I'm actually should see him today, and I'll hit him up to see.
And the contractor bonded, and if there are problems with the contractor.
I think that we did talk through that, right? The idea if there's catastrophic failure, right, that's going to still fall. It's probably not going to fall back on the village or or the town. So, but I think there's some hesitancy to that because I think had been sold that we don't have to worry about this for 20 years, based on what the lawyers had sent in the contract. So, coming back at that new talking point, new communication strategy to figure out what they are willing to accept, and then come back and have that conversation.
The only thing EDA is really waiting for to tell us to go ahead with construction for release of funds is actually the town being co-applicant, because that removes a lot of the hurdles for them.
I mean, having a contractor sitting around.
Yeah, well, not sitting around, it'll schedule up somebody else, he moves it back, but.
So I did get all the bond insurance and workman's comp from the contractor. It's delivered to us, I think, Tuesday. so that they're still anxious to go ahead with the project.
Also, post the construction, wasn't there a concern about the possible taxation of the lines going to the park? Was that a village concern?
That was.
Did that get resolved? By the
That's
village?
been resolved that the town were to take ownership or the IDA would keep ownership.
Yeah, that takes care of that issue as well. Yeah, 'cause I never saw that as an insurmountable issue. I mean, with a municipal agreement of some kind.
No, it's just that attorneys like to raise issues.
Yeah, well, what they're paid to do, right?
Yeah, I don't mind something.
Paid to raise the issue and solve it.
So now, since you did not hear from Tammy at our last meeting, I want Tammy to give her innovation report. She's been in Utica at a conference yesterday. Yeah, so I'm not sure if we got. What's to
All right. First, I want to introduce our intern, Victoria Spina. She will be entering her senior year at Hartwick College in the fall, and she's a business and art major. And she will give her own separate summary of what she's been doing in the last couple of weeks. So there's currently 5 clients with the Innovation Acceleration Center that we're in contact with and assisting them in one capacity or another. And I feel like I'm getting a good grip on ways to message our purpose so that we can be louder on promoting on the social media fronts. And I've also been updating the website. I'll get into a little bit more of that, but I have been successful in gaining some more traction on the social media front. And then with the networking of just colleagues, I've made contact with the incubator at MV and yesterday at the Vitality in the Valley Manufacturing Conference. I was able to meet with comparable innovation and excellence centers at University of Buffalo and what Clarkson offers. So as well as the REV program in Ithaca, affiliated with Cornell University. So I assume I'll have the same level of productivity and success with networking tomorrow at the state conference of New York State's incubators and innovation centers in Binghamton at the Kaufman Center. So we're also collaborating with the Regional Innovation Council out of SUNY Oneonta. We are launching a business and service searchable database. So the Innovation Acceleration Center will be there as offering conference room, MacBook Pro laptops, photo editing, software, printer service, GoToMeeting, and that kind of thing. So if anyone sitting around the table here would like to offer a service or hardware or equipment, or make yourself available to be a mentor in a specialization capacity, we definitely welcome that. So yeah, the networking and the marketing, our current marketing campaign that is centered around growing your ideas, and the other keyword is ignite, expires in June 30th with Paper Kite. So I'm meeting with them next week to figure out how we're going to keep our presence and modify things for the next few months. And let's see, what else do I want to highlight? So networking, marketing, yeah, just building up a list of a checklist for people when I talked about, do you have an NCIS code from Dun Bradstreet? Have you checked out Google patent search? And so I'm just learning about all these nice tools that I can share with people that approach us for getting things going.
So we've got 5 different clients, I'll call them, I don't know. What you call them.
Yeah.
How have they kind of come to us? What has been the main driving connection point?
So I can really only speak to the most recent one, and he's from Saratoga County, and he got a advertisement message through our LinkedIn advertising campaign. It's a message that came to him that Paper Kite drafted, and it comes to him coming from Jody. And so that caused him to go to the website and use the info to contact us at on our website. So I got that. And in the meantime, he had also called and left a message for me with Jody and yeah.
And he's an interesting individual. He designs rescue sleds for fire departments. And I guess you are working with IOPSIS that they want to install some type of ultra capacitors in there.
Yeah, he knows that he was inspired by designing a multi-person rescue sled for snow conditions. He was inspired by the Buffalo situation last fall. And so it's going to be this enclosed capsule, and it have benches for people to sit up to, like I said, 8 people. If they, don't need any excessive medical equipment. And so it'll be heated. So the heating source will be this rescue equipment called the Rook that the state police already use and have for rescuing vehicles. So he's adding another application to that Rook and being able to tow one of these rescue sleds. And actually he's designed it and to be able to link 3 sleds together behind this Rook. So in one pull and tow, you could essentially be rescuing 24 people at a time. So yeah, working with him to get his CAD design finalized and running his idea by Mike and Chad. And so that's the other thing I'm working on, is a concerted, consistent effort of how to communicate with our anchors.
They would assume they specialize in these battery units.
Yeah, the batteries and capacitors, so
that would provide the heat and the lights.
Yeah,
Inside one of these units without an internal combustion engine.
right, it would be able to take the energy being generated by the Rook rescue machine and use a capacitor to store the energy that makes while it's running, and so that then it can be trickled to a heating system. I've learned so much about capacitors. That's good. I'm not gonna learn.
Well,
Yeah.
That would-
Good to know.
Makes sense.
Very good. Medical coaches. To build that
Yes.
piece of equipment.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So on the other end is the investment.
Mhm.
And what is our role there, or do we not have a role?
Not at this time. We're just working with him, getting to a prototype stage so that he can test the engineering, that what he thinks it can tolerate for stability and towability.
Tammy, his reaching out to us here with our center, is it because he wants to connect with our local entities that are involved with capacitors and batteries and storage of energy, or is he looking to possibly, produce these units here?
He is very excited about, he is so passionate about his idea, and so he saw the message that came from Jody to him through LinkedIn. He's like, well, I don't care who I work with, but I've got this innovative idea, and if you're open to working with me, I'll work with you. Oneana's not that far away. So he's willing to collaborate and connect with our area. Mhm.
To Dave's point, he's passionate, but is he gonna, have you gone far enough along? I mean, does he have financial backing?
He does not. I mean, he's got a certain amount of personal money, he said, that he's ready to put at stake.
That's a good point. I mean, with some of these people, that may come through the door, I guess that's an old-fashioned term, come through the door, but
Sure.
contact us, is, perhaps, linking them with the, financial
Absolutely.
resources, either angel investors or, conventional financing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice eventually to get, I know you're still getting into this and understanding kind of what the business plan is for it, right? Like, 'cause I think the start was really honestly just meeting space or office space, right? And so, and then having these partners or connections in the area and kind of understanding those anchor organizations that are supporting this, but then also understanding like, where do we want to go ultimately with it? Are we then looking to, bring on a bank of potential networking for investment, right? And just understanding that vision of where we want to go.
And that's where Michelle would come in, is that she would help with writing the business plan with them.
Yeah.
And technically, under our ARC.
I have on a business plan for us, for the center, right? So that we see that vision. So,
Oh, I see.
do you know what I'm saying? Like, so we as a board understand, like, year one, this is what we're going to focus on and what we're really trying to tackle. And then year two, year three, like, here's where we want to go. What are our targets, each year in terms of individuals that we'd like to have kind of supporting and working with the innovation, and then how we're going to continue to grow potentially the network of connections and anchors that can help support that. So
I'll give you the one that I started with Michelle.
Okay.
I would, my cynical old age, say we'd help anybody with an idea creating. However, the long-term funding for this product is public funds. I can feel my tax dollars going up for another good idea. So once again, we'll work with anybody, but I feel more excited if it was some of the private idea that he was going to go out in the market and generate new income for the region by private, a product for the public. All this is going to do is raise the cost of government. Cynical, all it's going to do is going to be benefit, and I'm not saying they'll do it, but I'd be a lot more excited if a private person wanted to build a factory and hire a bunch of people to sell products to, somewhere all around the world. Medical coaches did 100 years ago. So,
But he is a private person.
yeah.
but they're all going to. There's some also emergency squad. Where's that money come from? That's public money.
Yeah.
Oh.
The ultimate customer in the end is.
That's
Well,
one of the reasons
Medicoach
why-
did, medical coach is separate.
Yeah, but they went worldwide, so it was, was a benefit to the region.
Custom Electronics is one of those firms that may invest in this company.
Right. Okay.
Ioxis also has a number of private investors that they will bring to the table.
But there has to be a level of, I don't want to call it venture, but it's a form of venture capital.
Right.
That there's a system in place to test all the things that have to be tested, like, is there a market? What's the intent? What's the interest in the market? Then what's the financial capacity to build it out? What's that plan look like? There's all of those stages that have to go in. Somebody has a great idea because they see something. You can build it, but nobody may buy it.
Would that be something, is Michelle, in terms of her business plan, does she get into that level of detail, like market analysis?
Yes, and that's also where both Custom and Ioxis are supposed to learn their technical support on saying, is there a market for it?
Right.
Just because you have a new cell phone and it costs $8,000, nobody's going to buy it. And that's where they're going to.
Exactly.
And do the analysis.
And I think that's what I'm going to, because I'm just sensing from some of the boards, like understanding our kind of flow,
What's
our
up?
tree, like where's our tree where we get out, right, where we're off, like we'll get you here, but we've got to have these conditions before we're going to invest more in you. from our perspective and have kind of that tree of where if there's clearly no market that comes back, then are we out? Like, or will we continue to provide office space, but nothing more, right? So I think starting to develop that idea around the flow when somebody comes in and where do we say we get off?
Well, and I am trying to be comfortable with how much to share about people's ideas. You know, like I could sit here now and tell you everything that he told me, but is that appropriate?
Well,
So
this is a
any
public meeting, so
feedback-
honestly, to tell you what you shared probably should not have been shared, so to
Yeah,
speak, right? Because it's
right.
a public forum in terms of that idea is now out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
I'm considering forming my own company to build breathing stations.
I mean,
Smart Alex.
you know, a 3-day,
Maybe not 3 days.
I know.
But I mean, I think our point is that we're trying to connect the dots for these people and we can provide them with physical space for communications. We're not investors. And so that's the next phase, if we can help them get to that.
You're right, right, as a referrals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you can be reassured that Custom Electronic, Anti-Access, they are in that mindset of they're not going to let the center over-invest time, and they're going to, you know, that they have the parameters to keep us in check.
Can you remind me again, what is our physical space capacity right now for like if we had 5 people that were looking for, you know, a desk and high-speed internet, can we accommodate 5?
Yeah,
We can?
right now we can.
We got to, what was it, like 9 or something we can accommodate? What was the actual total?
Right now, the original plan was that we'd have people come in, and if they want to use our space for a couple of weeks in our other conference room, that we would let them do that. And IOXIS and Custom Electronics were supposed to sit down with them and evaluate them and decide if they want to have them move into their building. So it was really a kind of a short-term basis here.
Right, but what's the max we could do in the short term?
Leave 5, 6.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about.
This is my need for organization and clarity. It might be good to start to understand, and here comes the spreadsheet for you, right? Here's the different kind of client touch points that we have coming in. Here's the services they're utilizing, and here's the main anchor partner that they're working with, just so we start to gain visibility and understand kind of movement through the flow of the process, how many we've got in, how many have kind of finished up their time with us, and where, you know, we have, I think, better conversation perhaps in this meeting. I don't know if anyone else agrees with that.
Again, I've got to figure out what's the appropriate parameters for, I take detailed notes. What do I pass on?
Honestly, I don't want to speak for everyone else, but for me, just understanding here's the client, here's where they are in the process, and here's their core anchor, I'm good with that, right?
Okay,
Like,
yeah, I have
just
actually.
need to be specific, yeah. And just
I
kind of
actually
like,
got a table.
we're doing this, we're helping these people, right? They're
Right.
using these services that we're offering,
We really want to know what time it is, not how to build a watch.
right?
Yeah.
Tom's full of it, just you gotta be prepared for it.
Yeah, I've seen motorized rescue snow vehicle. They're already in existence, so that's what I think that's our point. What's the market?
So did you want Victoria to?
Yes, now I'll let Victoria explain what she's been doing the last couple of weeks and what's coming ahead for you.
So far, I've been doing a lot of research. We had a meeting with the New Path label. So we were looking into their company and trying to find ways to help them. So that's going to be one of my big projects for the future, is going to be market research for them and helping with advertising. So far I've made different variations of posters for the center and everything like that. So I've been working on some marketing things and getting stuff up online. And then I've also reached out to people at Hartwick to try and get help in certain aspects from them. One would be using the radio club space as a recording facility for people of the community. So mostly, I guess.
Lot of finding ways to solve problems and opportunities to connect.
Yeah.
Which is what I think a lot of it's gonna be to start.
Yeah, fancy resources that are available. I love that.
What do you need and how do we,
And who's got it
Mhm.
already rather than inventing it
Mhm.
our own. So it's great.
So really quickly on my report, systematic power systems, I asked for giving a second drawdown request for them for about $173,000. Just finishing up the analysis. Eventually, we're gonna have the same duties as the down today, and go through how to do drawdown request responsibilities. To date, they've hired, in addition to the 31 people that they retained, they've hired 8 people. They're expecting to hire another 4 more in the next one. Air structures, Saudi, did not call me day before yesterday to say that they really want to thank us again for the assistance in getting that $120,000 Empire State Development Grant. Pouring foundations on the new building right now. They expect to have the building open later this fall, and they invited us all to come up for a photo shoot. And then he needs additional financing for new equipment that they're buying for a product that they're looking to do out in Europe. We'll be working with them. Harris reports they found one error in all the 18 reports we sent in to them, which was they're treating Corning's second expansion as a discrete project. So they only want us to count from 0 employees to I think roughly 23 or 24 now, as opposed for us to reference that they have like 190 people total. So we carry it in 2 different sections, and they said they would put a note in the report. That. So we corrected that. Ample converting, we did send them a draft lease. It was reviewed by Kurt Schulte. He made a couple minor changes to it. And I also informed them that the consolidated funding application process is now open and that he should be working on a draft application to ESD for some of the financing. We sent out letters to all the school districts and the towns and villages regarding solar projects. And amazingly, 2 of the school districts asked us for sample resolutions that they're going to go ahead and opt out of Section 487, and they thanked us for bringing it to their attention that there was anything to do on that. Skyline Hospitalities, the Dean of Hotchkiss and Russ is working on this. We expect to be able to close in this in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks. We did send checks to the Community Foundation for the West New York, so that should be moving on that. I've got to get back to them with our commitment. We sent them the check, but I didn't send the form. This going to have Tammy's on for the Innovation Center. And then you've been secured. In a nutshell.
You mentioned last time or the time before something about 2 solar projects that we were aware of.
Right now, I'm aware, I think of about 4.
Okay, that includes the old one that we met with people for the artwork survey field.
Yes.
Does anybody know anything about the West Lawrence project? They contacted us. That's that map.
They contacted us over a year ago, and the bulk of it is in Paducah County.
Oh, it is?
Yes. And so they're.
Well, it can't be West Lawrence.
No, I think they're doing 2 or 3 projects, and they were going to try to do a coordinated review between everybody. But I haven't heard from them since then.
My concern is that if you get to a certain megawatt on that project, then it goes to state siting and local authorities have no control over it. So that project that been originally proposed would completely eliminate any local authority. you get the leases, state gives you the approval, it goes in, it doesn't matter what the town says, so, or the village or whatever. That was my curiosity. But,
Well, that's my understanding.
yeah. Right.
So under new business,
Go ahead, I was about to say that, go ahead.
we have had a request from, well, actually the attorney for the city of Oleana regarding extending a proposed trail system into the Oleana business or the Oleana rail yard site. It would go probably about 1,000, not even, probably about 500 feet into our property. And then would move back to the street. My recommendation is that we go into a yearly lease with them to allow them to build this trail system. That they sign an indemnification agreement indemnifying the IDA that they can serve on the trail. And I would actually like for Kurt to talk to David Burchick about what we would want to include in that.
You said it sweeps back to the street. I mean, essentially they're just trying to create a loop in there, correct? It's not like a connecting,
I know, it doesn't sound like,
and it's a very small loop. Am I correct on this? And I looked at,
I guess you walk it down and turn
I think
around and come back.
well, this shows it as a loop though, right? That shows it as a loop. This doesn't. So that's where I was confused with the two different maps. And I'm assuming that that's essentially kind of a cumulative mileage.
Yeah, this one came from Mr. Herzig. This one came from the group that's proposing on building it. Which is why
It just seems like a lot of money for nothing.
I think it ends on the top of the current parking garage. That's where you get all your money.
Yeah.
So if I've missed discussions about this,
I mean, just walk down the road. There's not enough trail.
what,
Put a sidewalk in.
Oh, we've had a discussion.
we have to lease property to, let's just say for a moment, okay, we're gonna try to support, where does it go? What does it impede on? Is there ingress and egress problems? Does it eat up any buildable land? What are all those?
Yeah, something it's not really parking, right? So it's too small to do anything. I don't know who's gonna use this, to be honest with you.
Well, it connects to what? That's.
I don't see where it really connects.
This one, it just loops. It just loops in there. This one is just seems like it's a straight out and back.
But you really can't tell what's looping to what. This says that you have this trail that's being built, but it's starting here.
Right, so this,
And
if I
it's
were to
connecting
go,
back to Roundhouse Road, but
Yes.
these don't look the same.
right, so to me, my guess is they've created a slightly different straight path instead of creating a round loop in this. I don't know again which one's more current or which one they're landing on.
Is this somehow connected with New Park? I mean.
No, it's literally contained within here.
Right, it's just-
It just seems, I mean, that's what I'm saying, like, no one's, it's not long enough to do anything meaningful. And
Well, we
to
should
just
probably-
point, if we do this, then you just really start, like, if people are really gonna come down and walk it, like, they're gonna need to park somewhere, they're gonna need,
Acre for parking cars.
Right. if you're gonna pave this, this is in wetland territory, right? So are we disturbing wetlands in terms of how this would actually be constructed, or are they just
And
making it dirt? I don't know.
according to the gentleman who's working with the club to build this, the city engineer is working with DEC to get permits to build this thing.
Yeah, it would be possible to go from the park under the viaduct and connect those and have a sensible, walking path that was longer than, 10 miles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all
With
for
the big
some
picture,
kind
it
of
might make
path,
some
yeah,
sense.
but like, this doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I think, in terms of the purposes of this meeting, it strikes me that our response should be, why don't they give us one
More detail.
Yeah.
one proposal,
final
one
proposal.
map, one proposal, and which we can consider. I think,
And I'll add to that, Jim, one proposal, but here's all the impacts of it.
Correct.
And and what their answers to those impacts.
That's right, yeah.
Right, yeah, we have to be careful to make sure that doesn't impede on, any future plans we may have. It strikes me that, down the road, if, we get a tenant or a buyer down there that, these type, a trail like that could possibly add to the, kind of the quality of,
It can hurt.
the lunchtime, yeah, the quality of life for their employees.
It can also be seen as a negative to a business too, when you have foot traffic
Well, you never know who's
and
walking.
potentially what kind of foot traffic. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, when we
Yeah,
cleaned up,
right.
wasn't the best foot
Right in the
traffic.
middle there.
Yeah.
Hitting that area right now.
City, yeah.
Correct, right? There was paraphernalia along the way, right? So being in a hidden
Understood.
section of the city, right, what kind of people are using the trail? So it could be seen both ways.
Yeah,
in that
that's true.
respect.
That side of the road, we're pretty much prohibited from doing anything on that side of the road because of the wetlands, correct?
Right. That's,
So that's the, so.
I asked if they would consider the person who wants to build this hiking club, whether they would continue the path down along our property, along the wetland. And they said, well, we're just trying to get phase one. And we commit to doing it. Also, they don't have any money to build this right.
Thanks, Julie, for the number of communication.
Yeah.
So,
Just a minute.
so nobody has money to build it, and we're doing work with the DEC and trying to figure out, spend time and
Okay,
money.
so
to figure it out.
that's the city.
so we're going to ask them to give us a more complete
Yes.
plan
Yeah.
and see if there's something
So that we can
that works.
consider down the road.
Anything else for a meeting, or, we're going to work?
That's it.
So move.
Thank you.
I mean,